Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Wok and Roll with Icobacca. In today's episode, I'm going to be doing the classic chicken chow mein. Ready for that? Let's wok and roll. Yeah, guys, like I said, we're going to be doing a chicken chow mein. I'm going to add some char siu to mine. First of all, we need to prep the veggies. I'm going to take one onion and cut it into strips. There's that there. I've done that beforehand. Then we're going to wash 2 spring onions. So I'm going to get 2 spring onions out. Put them in there. Just give them a quick rinse round in the water, just to remove any dirt or debris that might well be on them. And then we're going to pat dry the spring onions or scallions with a kitchen towel. And then we can cut them up. So first of all, we're going to cut them in half, or cut the ends off anyway. Cut the ends off. And then cut them in half, because the white part we're going to be used to cook with, and the green part, which we're about to shred now, will be used for garnish at the end. Like I said, we're going to shred these. Hold them tightly together and then just cut slices into them. Fold them over if you need be. It's not the easiest thing to cut. And then with the white pieces, we're going to just cut them into segments, add a diagonal. Like I said, these will go in with the onions when we start cooking with them. And there are our spring onions. Next in, another fresh bowl of water, and we're going to add our bean sprouts. These are store-bought, although you probably don't need to wash them. I do anyway, just to get rid of some, and it freshens them up. So get a handful, put them in the bowl of water, and then just swizz them around for a couple of minutes, and those can be transferred to a container. Now onto the chicken. Now remembering that's the line of the grain, we want to go against it, so we're cutting into 3 first, again with the grain. And then we're turning them over, and then we're cutting against the grain into thin slices with your knife at a 45-degree angle, so you get nice big slices. And we're going to do that with the whole chicken. That's the final bit, and then we're going to start the marinade. Put your chicken into a bowl, move it to one side, now for the marinade you will need half a tablespoon of oyster sauce. That's oyster sauce, half a tablespoon going in, 1.5 teaspoons of cornflour, then 1.5 tablespoons of water, and then roughly round about half a teaspoon or 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. Just putting our water in there. So once you've got all of that in, you're going to get your hands in and you're going to mix it thoroughly. Let the marinade blend into the chicken, and then you can set that aside. Now at this point we can create our sauce. So we're going to take 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. One tablespoon of light soy sauce. 1 teaspoon of dark soy sauce. Half a teaspoon of sugar. And then half a teaspoon of chicken bouillon powder. You can add in sesame oil, half a teaspoon of sesame oil at this point. But I tend, and then mix that well. Yes, the sesame oil is optional. And this will be your sauce. Now to a pan we are going to add 1 litre of boiling water. This is for the noodles. You put that back on the stove and set it to boil. I'm using Lucky Boat number 1 noodles. These are about the thickest ones. They do like a number 2, which are slightly thinner, but we're using 2 nests of Lucky Boat number 1 noodles. Put that in your pan, bring that back to the boil, and then turn off the heat and then leave that for 8 minutes. Now here I'm cutting up some char siu to go in with my chicken. So it's a chicken chow mein with char siu. Again, using the 45-degree cutting angle. In the later video I'll show you how to make that. That is absolutely delicious recipe. Put a frying pan or a wok on the heat and bring that back, bring that up to heat. If it is a non-stick, then add oil first before doing this. Once the wok is smoking, we can add oil to the chicken and mix that through. That just helps it loosen it up a little bit, so it doesn't all clump together when you eventually put it into the wok. Like I said, the wok is smoking now, so we can turn the heat down, add in some oil. And then add our chicken to the wok. After a swirl, of course. Give it a swirl. Yep. Chicken going into the wok. Spread it out a bit. Spread it out thinly across the bottom of the wok. And then we need to leave that to rest, to sear the bottom. Don't be tempted to move it straight away. It will stick. It's going to stick anyway. But leave that for, and then you can remove it. Once we've got some sear on one side, you can turn it over and get the chicken cooking on the other side. Now we probably need to cook this around about 70-80% of the way through. It doesn't have to be 100% because we will finish the cooking when we complete the chow mein. So once that's done, we're going to put that into a little bowl and set that aside. At this point you can either clean the wok out or use a fresh wok. Now, in a clean wok or a new one, put in the oil, let it come back to a smoking point. Again, give it a swirl around. Before it gets too hot, we're going to add in our onion and spring onion at this point. I'm going to get that cooking off until you get the aromatics of the onions and spring onions coming through. So just break them through, break them up. So, yep, after about a minute of cooking your onions and spring onions, make a little bit of room. Now we're going to add the meat. First going in is add a little bit of oil. And then to the pan, add the char siu, just to warm it through. And this is already pre-cooked. So again, after about a minute, 40 seconds to a minute of warming that through, mix the onions in with the char siu. And then again, we're going to make a little bit of room to put in our chicken. If it still looks a bit dry, you can add a little bit more oil. There we go, in with the chicken. Remember, this is the part cooked, so it's like 70%, 80% cooked through. This is now, we'll cook it all the way through. So we're going to mix that in. Make sure all the ingredients are nice and hot in the wok before we add in our noodles. Give it a little toss. Make sure you're all mixed through. And then we'll add our noodles at this point. So grab your noodles, should be all nice and cooked, and then fan them out on the top. Spread them out evenly, don't let them clump. Try not to burn your hands, obviously. Just spread them out a little bit and make it a bit more even. Now what we need to do now is transfer the noodles from the top to the bottom. One good toss should do this. So there you go. So all your meat and veg are now on top and the noodles should be at the bottom. Let them sit for a little while, give them a little bit of a stir. Again, if the wok is too dry, you can add a little bit of oil, but leave that to rest. Let the wok heat back up. So after the noodles are warmed through a little bit, you can mix it all together. We're getting ready for the final couple of ingredients. Now at this point we can add it in our sauce. It's not too saucy, this is a fairly dry chow mein. If it's a little bit too dry, you can add a little bit of water. You don't necessarily have to. Mix that through. Give it a toss if you want to. And then we'll add in our last two ingredients. There we go, bit of a toss. So finally then we can go in with our bean sprouts. Put them in. And literally all we're going to do with the bean sprouts is warm them through. We want to keep them nice and crunchy. And at this point also now we'll add in our shredded spring onion. And give it a little mix through. Now, a little tip that I learned from Made with Lau is if you get a pair of chopsticks and your spatula and use them in tandem, you can mix the noodles in with the rest of the ingredients quite easily. So continue to mix those through. Give it a final flick through, and then we're about finished. So at this point you can turn the heat off and add in about a teaspoon of pure sesame oil. Give that a final mix through. And that is ready to plate up. Yep. Transfer everything onto a plate and serve instantly. And that is my chicken and chow mein with char siu. Absolutely delicious. Do remember to like and subscribe. All that lovely business. And here's me having a big taste of everything. By the looks of it, it was hot. It was absolutely delicious. That's it. Absolutely gorgeous. I hope you enjoy it. Yep, and that is it for today's video. So if you did enjoy that, do remember to like and subscribe, and always remember to share. I have been Icobacca. Until next time, keep rocking and rolling. Bye!